Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 7 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the subject of dealing with difficult people. It seems to be a really big deal out there because, hey, there are a lot of difficult people out there and they seem to be triggering things in us that don't serve us. So what I want to do is give people a perspective on how to deal with certain difficult people and then some skills on how to deal with others. The perspective has to do with 2 types of difficult people that I think we want to make sure we minimize their effect in our lives, because if we find ourselves being triggered by all of these folks, it's going to be really difficult to deal with the people who we really want to influence. So let's take people we don't know, probably we'll never see again. Maybe drivers on the freeway or on the road. Maybe some clerk that doesn't give us the service we want. If we find ourselves kind of reacting to those people with anger, frustration, resentment, worry, annoyance, we have just made that person more powerful than we want them to be in our life. Because you see, this middle part of the brain, for those of you who follow my life from the top of the mind philosophy, you know this middle part of the brain has a tendency to search the environment for signs of anything negative, and it interprets anything negative as dangerous and throws us into the lower brain, which is designed to deal with danger. And that's where we get angry or stressed or frustrated or resentful. So if someone cuts us off in the freeway and we kind of get on their bumper and tell them what a bad driver they are, and then go, when we get to work or home, tell everybody that some idiot almost killed me, we have just made that person the most important person in our life. Because the person we're running over and over in our mind is them. We are giving them permission to dump adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol into our body, those stress hormones. We don't want to do that. So one of the questions I encourage people to ask themselves when they're dealing with those kind of difficult people is, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how powerful do I want that person to be in my life? Most people go, 0. Great. Okay, so how do we deal with someone who has 0 importance? Frankly, we don't give them a second thought. You know, there's two ways to make someone important. We can love them, that makes them important, or we can resent them or be angry with them. That makes them important because, again, the person we're thinking about is them. So if we start practicing dealing with all those non-important people and the people who do not want to be important or powerful in our life from a perspective of how we deal with people who we do not want to be powerful in our lives, we don't give them a second thought, we can get good at that. That's important. Now, there are people in our lives that we see on a regular basis, maybe we'll work with them, maybe they're kind of members of our extended family, but if we ask the question, okay, how important do I want that person to be in my life? Not how powerful, but how important do I want that person into my life? It might be close to 0. It might be like a +1 or a -1, but it might be pretty close to 0. So we've got to begin to then practice dealing with that person as if they occupy that level of importance. Which means, again, we don't get real invested in changing them or being upset with them or thinking about them or ruminating about them because, frankly, they just aren't that important in our lives. It's not that we don't know them, maybe won't see them again, but we don't want to spend our life thinking about them. So those 2 questions I think are really powerful. Number 1, how powerful do I want this person to be in my life? Someone I don't know, probably will never see again. Most people say 0. Let's make sure we practice that. Then on these other people, how important do I want that person to be in my life? Again, if it's close to 0, we got to be willing to practice interpreting them that way. Because if we just leave it up to this middle brain to interpret difficult people, whether they are important to us or powerful, then we will find ourselves in that lower brain all the time, making them way more powerful, way more important than we want them to be. Now, let's look at people who are important in our lives. Maybe we are in a relationship with them. Maybe they are close members of our family. Maybe we work very closely with them. Maybe they're someone we supervise or someone that is our boss in a situation. That, influencing that relationship, that interaction takes a lot of skill and effort. It's one thing I do. I go around teaching people actually how to access the best of who we are, bring that to that interaction and actually influence that relationship in a way that produces more solution-focused conversations, that has people coming from about the same place. That is easier said than done. When I get to the part of that in my seminar, people have told me to tell all my seminar participants, this is graduate school, because it's not something we learn. Of course, you know, we're supposed to listen and we're supposed to empathize and all that kind of stuff. But we want to make sure we are tracking where we are in the brain, making sure we're coming from that clear, confident, creative part of who we are, and accessing the best of them, not trying to stop the worst of them. If this is something you would like me to teach to you or your organization, this is what I do. I get to go around the world teaching people how to bring their best to life and then bring out the best in others. How to engage people who are important, co-workers, customers, family members, in a way where that relationship becomes better, becomes more functional, becomes more something like we would recommend to someone we love. If you want me to do that, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. In the meantime, these first two questions, dealing with people who we don't know, we'll never see again. How powerful do I want that person to be in my life? And then people who, yeah, we might know, might see occasionally, how important do I want them to be in my life? If we can begin to deal with those types of people successfully, we free up kind of a bandwidth, an ability to then deal with those other people in a more purposeful way. Now, we do need the skills to do that, so I do encourage you to get my book, Live from the Top of the Mind. It shows you how to do that. Ask me to come and do this training for your organization or group or church or family. I'd love to do that as well. By the way, if you're liking these videos, please hit the like button. You know how YouTube and Facebook and Pinterest and all those folks love it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you feel it's valuable. I try to post one of these every week. Feel free to put your comments down below. I try to read them, respond to them when you've asked a question. I love to do this. I hope you're enjoying this process. So until next time, here's to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.